Hi, I'm Dustin Abbott, and I'm here today to give you a look at Sigma's newest and in some ways perhaps most unique lens to date. And that is the new 105mm f1.4 Art Series lens. Now, when I opened the box and I saw this was the case inside, the lens case, I had to laugh out loud and say, oh my goodness, this is going to be a beast. And it certainly is a beast of a lens. As you can see, it is an incredible amount of glass there. It has a massive front element. It has a unique lens hood that really looks more like the kind of lens hood that you would see, say, on the 150 to 600mm sport lens. And so it's a unique lens, and certainly in comparison to the competition, there's really only one competing lens, and that is from Nikon. They also have 105mm f1.4. Now, there are a couple of ways where Sigma deviates from the path that Nikon has chosen with their own bokeh monster here. First of all, of course, is price. The Nikon lens comes in at right under $2,200 in the US market. Sigma's coming to market at right under $1,600, so about a $600 difference in price. So, I mean, that's not unusual. That's about what you'd expect from a Sigma versus a first-party lens. The other area where it differentiates, however, is when it comes to the physical dimensions of the lens. The Nikon lens, of course, it's not a small lens, but it's under 1,000 grams. 985 grams is the overall weight of it. This lens is 1,645 grams. And so, I mean, we're talking about somewhere close to, somewhere around over like a 60% increase in size over the Nikon lens, or at least in terms of the weight. And so, you know, again, that's not unusual for Sigma either. They have decided at some point when they went into the Art Series way of thinking that their priority was not going to be physical size, nor was it going to be weight. In most cases, these don't seem to be consideration anymore. The Sigma Art Series lenses are almost always amongst the largest and heaviest in their class. But they determined that they were going to go all out on, you know, sharpness and optical performance. And so obviously it's worked for them. They seem to have really carved a niche out there to where Sigma Art Series lenses are considered that they're going to be an optical benchmark. So let's jump in and let's take a closer look at this beast when it comes to the specifications, the design here, some of the features that are inherent in it. Let's jump in and let's take a look together. Obviously, one of the first things that you're going to note as you take a look at this unique lens is the fact that it has got a singularly huge front element. This is 105mm, which means this is actually the same diameter as Sigma's 150 to 600mm sport telephoto lens. And so, I mean, just a massive front diameter that it's much larger than anything else in this series. Now, looking down inside, you know, looking past all that glass, you can see that there are 9 rounded aperture blades, which is pretty standard for this series here. And so obviously a tremendous amount of glass. Now, the other thing about that is that this is intentional. And I noted that one of the things that Sigma touted in the press release on this lens is that they gave this massive front element. Of course, that makes it a huge pain for using filters. Yes, I mean, you can use filters, but 105mm filters are going to be very expensive and, you know, a little bit unwieldy. But their point here is to help with vignette. And so they note that this large filter diameter gives them a significantly greater volume of peripheral light than other lenses in the class. And so, you know, at least there is a point for this. And so far, from what I've seen, this lens does have a exceptionally low amount of vignette. Now, another interesting thing to look at is, you know, it's kind of only visible from the back, but I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about it. Sigma has begun to implement fairly standard now a rear gasket. And so I just noted, looking at the 70 millimeter f2.8 macro lens in the Art series, it has a similar gasket, and this is a substantial gasket at the lens mount. However, if you look specifically at the language that Sigma uses, that's all the weather sealing that lens has. Sigma's language when it comes to this lens is completely different. It says, again, I quote, "A highly effective dust and splash-proofed structure with special sealing at the mount connection, manual focus ring, cover connection, and other areas, allowing photographers to work in all types of weather. In addition, the front of the lens is protected by a water and oil repellent coating that makes cleaning easy." And so, obviously very different language that they're touting more of like their sport series level of weather sealing. And so this is a lens that is designed to very, professional type specifications. Now, another interesting kind of premium design feature comes up when you look at the lens hood. Now, looking at it itself, I mean, frankly, it doesn't seem really any different than most Sigma lens hoods in terms of the materials, but that is deceptive because this is actually designed, instead of just with plastic, this is a product material that they call CFRP, or carbon fiber reinforced plastic. And so there are actually carbon fiber threads that are put into it. And so the end result is a very light lens hood, which of course is very desirable. It saves you from having a massive amount of weight on the front end. But at the same time, it's going to be incredibly strong. And so certainly a nice thing when it comes to that. There is a slightly soft touch material here on the front, which helps because a lens like this, it's probably not going to be uncommon for some photographers to set it down with that, kind of in this fashion, to where they're setting it down and kind of resting the lens on that. And so this is kind of designed for that. And so it's, for one thing, it's not going to crack the glass of a table or something that you set it on. It helps to distribute that weight more easily. Now, instead of a typical bayonet style, obviously we have a locking knob here and to lock the hood in place. And so a little bit different of a mechanism. And in fact, if you look on the inside, you can see that there is a portion here that will extend in when that knob is depressed to give you the ability. So there actually is a minor amount of a bayonet action there, but it will not lock you without using that locking mechanism. Now, another thing that is worth noting here is that this does, obviously, as you can see, it does come with a tripod foot here. This tripod foot is removable, and you'll see there is a remove designation on there. But one thing that I do want to praise Sigma for, I praise it every time I see it and knock it every time that I don't see it. This tripod foot is Arca-Swiss compatible, which makes a huge difference. Already I've done some tests, just thrown that right onto a tripod and cranked it down. And so that's very, very useful. Now, the actual kind of profile of this lens, in some ways it's a more compact version of a lens, say like a 200 millimeter f2 lens, and kind of the similar, relatively short comparatively compared to the huge front element. This is about packing a lot of glass into as compact a body as possible. And so as a result, the lens is actually not particularly long in an absolute sense. It's 5.2 inches. And so, I mean, that is, that's a whole lot shorter than, say, a 70 to 200 f2.8. And so that's 131.5 millimeters in length. It's almost as big around at its widest diameter as it is in length. It's 4.6 inches around, or right at basically 116 millimeters. And so, byproduct is a lens that has a somewhat squat profile. It is a hefty lens. I mean, there's no getting away from that. Removing the tripod collar will help a little bit, but I do want to note, and let me just throw this on a body to show you. So you can see, even mounted on a substantial Canon 5D Mark IV DSLR, this lens is definitely going to be front heavy. I mean, you've got a lot of glass away from you, but that kind of short length does help in that rather than that weight being way out here, it's closer. So that does help. The tripod foot, I do find, however, is a nice place to, kind of support the lens with your hand underneath there. And it just, you can kind of grip underneath there, and it does kind of help when it comes to that. But certainly it's a heavy lens. It is 58 ounces or 1,645 grams. And so in other words, this is going to out-heft a 70 to 200 millimeter f2.8, for example. At the same time, it's not so prohibitively heavy that you can't use it. It's hefty, it's big, there's no doubt about it. And by the way, while it is compatible with say the MC11, and it actually works quite well in terms of the autofocus with the MC11, it's obviously on a Sony A7 series body, which is, smaller grip, smaller weight of the body itself. The balance becomes poor in some way, but at the same time, even with a DSLR, a lens like this, you're really, it's the tail wagging the dog. You're supporting the lens more than you are the camera itself. That's the balance point. Now, this lens can focus down to right under 40 inches, basically right at a meter. Unfortunately, the magnification is not all that great. It's 1 to 8.3. That's a 0.12 times. And so basically right along the range of a somewhat poor 85 millimeter lens. And 135 millimeter lenses are often better when it comes to that, better reproduction figure. But unfortunately, the 105 millimeter is playing more like an 85 millimeter in that metric than what it does 135 millimeters. So as you can see, everything else is pretty straightforward. I mean, design language is very much Sigma Art Series. It's a nice looking lens. Mostly what's set apart is that it does have a very unique profile. You've got a basic AF, MF switch, and that's all when it comes to that. No OSS, optical stabilizer on there. And so, that's going to be the one advantage if you do use it on a Sony body, is that you're going to get that stabilizer. But without that, you're relying more on being able to get a very fast shutter speed with the f1.4 aperture and that huge amount of glass sucking in light. And so as you can see, a very unique and interesting lens. I'll follow this up in my summation with a couple of interesting things. First of all, like the 14 to 24 millimeter f2.8 and the new 70 millimeter f2.8 Art Series lens, I'm delighted to say that on a Canon body, this has full support for Canon's lens aberration correction. And so Sigma is the first third-party manufacturing to start to get access to that. Canon has had that system completely closed down in the past. So what that means is if you're shooting JPEGs, they can be corrected right in the camera for things like vignette, peripheral illumination, chromatic aberration, and diffraction, different things like that can all be optimized right in the camera menu, depending upon what camera model you have and what kind of corrections it covers. But anyway, the only thing that is not covered by that is Canon's digital lens optimizer, which is a completely different animal, if you're familiar with that, and I don't have time to go into it here today. But great news is that you're going to have JPEGs that receive the same kind of preferential treatment than that a native Canon lens would. So I'm really excited about that. To me, that's huge. The lens itself, of course, is compatible with Sigma MC11 adapter for Sony. There will be an FE mount of this lens as well. Yeah, it's not a great balance, but it's not the end of the world either using it on a Sony body. And so it works really well with the MC11. I do want to point out, and I'll cover this more in my final review, but I've been actually delighted in the focus accuracy right out of the box. I haven't even had to calibrate on my Canon 5D Mark IV. I mean, focus has been dead on, and focus accuracy and consistency so far has been excellent. And of course, this is a lens that's really demanding on that. Its depth of field is really narrow, but Sigma seems to have doubled down on this and has done a great job. So I'm really happy to not have kind of fear as I'm using it that I'm going to get focus inconsistency. And so kudos to Sigma. This has been a weak point for them, but they've stuck at it, they've worked at it, and focus motor here seems to work great right out of the box. It's quick, it's accurate, and surprisingly quick for moving that much glass in there. And so kudos to Sigma for a great job with that. Stay tuned. I'm going to be coming back to you with a breakdown of the image quality, which you're going to be very happy about when that comes. I'll show you a lot of photos as a part of that. In the meantime, however, you can look in the description down below, and there's a linkage there to my image gallery that I've been adding photos to. I'm going to be trying to obviously fit in as much portrait type work while I have this lens as possible, because that's really its reason for existence right there. And so I'll try to do some of that. And of course, you can also find buying links down there below, and buying through my links helps to support this channel, and thank you so much to those of you who use them. You can follow me on social media, become a patron, subscribe for my newsletter, and if you haven't already, please click that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.